Make your grandchildren part of any major decisions you make, because after all, they have to live with the consequences of the choices that you make today. What if you had to face them today and actually explain to them the choices you make and why you did it? How would that make you feel? Imagine that on behalf of the company, you just signed the Grandchildren Pledge and thereby joined a list of thousands of other companies that were on a publicly accessible list. Companies that had signed this pledge and thereby saying, I'm going to run the business in a way that will ensure that my grandchildren will have better conditions to unfold their lives compared to a business as usual scenario. Let's face it, we are heading in the wrong direction. This stable and pleasant ecosystem that has allowed us to thrive for the last 10,000 years is under pressure. Many areas we are pushing it beyond the boundaries and moving towards massive change. We are approaching irreversible tipping points for the systems in several areas. The decisions we make today in the way we run our company today will have implications for the life on this planet for the next 100 to 1,000 years. So it's your daily actions and choices that shape the living conditions of your grandchildren and the grandchildren of the world. If we continue on the path that we're on now, we are going to be facing some pretty unpleasant conversations with our grandchildren just a couple of decades further down the road. They will rightly be asking us, what were you actually doing back there in the 20s? Back when you had a chance to alter the path. Back where decisions you could have made would have made my life easier, simpler, would have given me other opportunities to unfold my life and my condition. The notion about working on sustainability has to change. Right now, you are probably leaning on a definition just like most other people out there. It says something like you are allowed to fulfill your needs as long as you don't restrict future generations' ability to meet their needs. But the way we run our businesses today, the choices we make, the way society is operated today, is actively restricting your grandchildren's ability to meet their needs. The Stockholm Resilience Center have developed what they call the planetary boundaries. It's a concept where they have figured out that there are 9 planetary boundaries that, as long as we make sure that we live within them, then we have a pleasant and stable system that we can thrive within. The bad news here is that out of the 9 planetary boundaries, we're already surpassing 6 of them. And the implication is that in all 6 of these areas, your grandchildren will not have the same opportunities to unfold their lives as you have had. They will be worse. So we definitely need to act and do things differently going forward from here. And therefore, this idea about the Grandchildren Pledge as a way to have a simple tool to assess the quality of your choices and decisions on a daily basis. So whenever you are faced with a major decision or action point, simply ask, will this improve the living conditions for my grandchildren, or will it make it worse? If it's the latter, it does not fulfill the pledge or live up to the pledge. Then it means back to the drawing board. You've got to find a better way. The whole purpose of this Grandchildren Pledge is to turn this perhaps vaguely abstract idea about sustainability and future generations into something that's a lot more relatable, something that's closer to you, your own bloodline, your own grandchildren. I centered it around the planetary boundaries to give you something to assess up against if it's a more complicated decision. Some of the decisions you'll be facing and some of the choices you have to make, it's going to be pretty easy, simply by gut feeling, knowing whether or not this is a good choice. But others are going to be harder. And here, you will now have this scientifically based method of the planetary boundaries to assess the impact of the choices you make up against. So the question is really, would you sign such a grandchildren pledge for your company? And do you think it would make a difference in your everyday choices?